We're here to talk about a unique place in Beirut and in Lebanon. It's so colourful, you can see it from the aeroplane. I remember when I flew in, I took video footage of it, thinking, wow, what is this? And I believe that you are the instigator of a movement that created this incredibly colourful refurbishment or redevelopment of this area. Why did you do that?
First, unfortunately, yes, I am the guy who's behind this, because I was born here in 1970 and I lived 5 years. If I remember a little bit, we used to go to the beach. We used to have like nice area. And then I left for two reasons. One of them, my family was separated. My mom left us. So second one, the war. So when I left, to cut the story short, I had like a very tough childhood. Without father, without mother, without politicians, and without religion, I succeeded. So after 42 years of distance from this area, when I found out that I'm a very successful person, I created like big companies into development where I gave a big impact in Beirut. But every time I was landing in Ouzaii airport, I would say, because it's in Ouzaii, the airport, I felt so sad every time, like, how come no one is taking care of this abandoned area? So I, little bit, if you want, I compared it to my story. Lebanon, same story. It was abandoned by the family, by the parents, like me. From the politicians, from the political parties, and even from the locals. Everybody is thinking about himself. But no one was thinking about Lebanon. No one was thinking about Ouzaii. So this is where the idea started. Through years, everybody was telling me, where are you from? I used to be proud to say, I am from Ouzaii. I said, how come like you created this big hub, big companies in Achrafieh, in the mountain of Lebanon, in Bordeaux, in France? You're from Ouzaii? So I was like shocked. Yeah, I was from Ouzaii, a bidonville, how we say in French, a slum area. But why it is like this? Because no one wanted to take care of it. So 5 years ago, it was one of the international media, Times Magazine, and the New York Times, they asked me, what is next? I said, there is nothing next. We cannot grow any longer when our country is falling apart. I could build like 10 more buildings and make more money. But what's the use of making more money when your country is falling apart? So I took the initiative to stop working, stop growing, and taking care of Lebanon, who's a little bit like me, abandoned. So that was my challenge, to help Lebanon. And everybody, all my friends, all my clients, they thought that I'm crazy. So I said, okay, the first step is I have to take care of the abandoned houses. So I went to different areas in Lebanon, Tripoli, a little bit next to Zahle, in the mountains, even in France, to give life to everything is dying. And one day, like actually 2 years ago, I was coming from France, and I met Viktoria Latysheva, who is has curator 1990, and I looked at her. I said, you know what? We're gonna save Lebanon through art, because we have garbage everywhere. Because 2 years ago, we had mountains of garbage everywhere in Beirut, mainly in Beirut. And I was really shocked when I saw that the government is doing nothing for political and business reason. The political parties were doing nothing. Religious people are even careless. So I said to myself, how come no one is really caring about Lebanon? And the main problem, it was not only the politicians and the religious people, the political parties. I said to myself, we are 4 million Lebanese in Lebanon and 10 million abroad. No one really cares about Lebanon. I'm gonna save Lebanon. I'm gonna save the image of Ayad, the abandoned guy. So I told Victoria, we're gonna make art out of garbage.
Nice.
He said, the garbage of the 4 million Lebanese, we're gonna beautify it. So I told her, you know what, since you know all the international street artists and the best ones in the world, Retna and Roshutz. She can tell you all the names. So in like 5 minutes, I saw the professionalism of Viktoria texting all those artists worldwide. In 10 minutes, they all replied, wow, we love this initiative to come and help your country. Unfortunately, the Lebanese artists didn't really like the idea to come and paint on the garbage. So here I felt another disappointment. So I said, it's fine. We're gonna bring the international street artist to come and paint on the garbage.
What do you mean by paint on the garbage?
Since the garbage is there, it was almost for 1 year.
Mounds of garbage.
Yeah, nobody wanted to remove it.
Right.
So what do? I saw like almost 4 million Lebanese, poor and rich, driving with their own cars, going to parties, restaurants, having fun, buying phones, watches. They all come late, you know, with their fancy watches. I saw nobody is caring about the garbage because maybe they don't know what to do or they don't want to do. So I said, let us beautify this garbage.
Right.
Instead of making graffiti on the walls, let's make graffiti on the garbage.
Didn't it stink?
No, that was the idea. We said, let's try it. Let's put beautiful a piece of art, and when people they pass, they will see, wow, our garbage is art. In like 3 weeks, when we start preparing to bring all those street artists, something happened. I told her, Viktoria, by the way, it's gonna cost us a lot to bring them to Lebanon. She said, yeah, you can contact all your rich friends since you know all the best people in Lebanon, and I really know the best people. And you know your banks, you've been working with them for 20 years, the biggest banks in Lebanon, so they can sponsor this initiative. So I tried calling everyone. In 1 week, I told her no one wants to put money because they don't believe in this and they don't care. So I told her, you know what, I think I'm gonna drop this initiative because it's gonna cost me over $150,000 to bring all those artists. She told me, but I thought you are someone who wants to save the country. I said, okay, it's a challenge. So she was challenging me. So I did it. I woke up in the morning. I said, okay, team, let's start booking the hotels. Let's start buying the tickets. Then in like one month, some people called me after like 1 month. Yeah, like your project is falling apart. I said, what do you mean? He said, yeah, Saad Hariri came from Saudis and apparently they agreed to remove all the garbage. I said, so why my project's falling apart? I mean, it's a good news, and it's not my project, it's a project for the country.
Yeah.
And Viktoria told me, since you booked all the tickets and the hotels, the artists are coming. I said, don't worry, we're gonna take them to paint on the walls. We brought Urban down to Lebanon.
Wow.
So we invited like 1,000 people of my friends to come and spend a beautiful evening to meet the artists, the curators, the piece of art, and we told them half of this piece of art that we're gonna bring to Lebanon, it will be to clean and to paint on the walls in Lebanon. So after this event, we were a little bit shocked again. They all came to spend time, to have fun with their Porsches, with the Mercedes, BMWs, fancy cars, fancy watches, but no one really encouraged us to buy. And we were kind of disappointed because all those artists came for Lebanon. A week later, I told her, you know what, I'm gonna encourage them. Since I'm crazy, I'm gonna buy like 25 pieces of art. So we bought the pieces of art, and meanwhile they were starting to paint on the walls. She went to see some local authority to paint in Achrafieh, in Kola, in Burj Hamoud, and another area in Achrafieh. One of them told, why don't we go to Ouzaii, since you know the people there. So we start bringing the local, the international artists. They all came. While I was bringing the artists with Viktoria, we were every time coming with them, inviting them to eat fish here, and the restaurant was doing well. So they loved the area. I say, wow, why they don't come to this area? I said, they are shy to come, they are afraid, they are scared. I said, what do you mean? I said, yeah, because they think it's for Hezbollah, it's Amal, the political parties. So they said, yeah, but we are happy here. Some of them, all of the girls, blondes coming from Canada, from Australia, we had a lot of people here in the shorts. So this is where we decided to make a big change. Not only through arts, through street artists. I said, we need to beautify this area. When you arrive to Lebanon, the first thing that you see is Ouzaii, the bidonville. And this is where I said, 40 years, abandoned area, we need to give it colors. So we started by painting the walls, building after buildings. So we start putting all our money, painting the buildings, making change, talking to the local people that you need to start cleaning your streets. And meanwhile, so we succeeded in beautifying the area, unifying the Lebanese, because we invited more than 2,000 people around in 1 year and a half to come and visit and eat. We've been inviting them. And this is what we made a change. We brought people from everywhere in Lebanon. What the politicians, Hariri and Nasrallah, did not do when they signed the agreement, they did not put the people together. Make them feel that you are all Lebanese. So this is what I wanted to do. Since I'm doing the change, we have to do it the right way. So we succeeded in beautifying the area, unifying the Lebanese, breaking the stereotype, and this is where we decided to make Ouzaii into Ouzville. So we created Instagram, we created Facebook, we were in Jordan trying to rest a little bit after 1 year of intensive work, making this change, hearing comments, criticize. So we succeeded. And then the most important thing that we wanted to do is to initiate every single citizen in that area to take responsibility. And you can see all the streets are clean, there is trees, beautiful, and after all, we said this is part of Lebanon. So it became touristic, artistic, thanks to Curator 1990, and we gave them hope. Now you're gonna see all the people in this area. They tell you, we gave them hope, we gave them importance, we gave them attention, that no one did it.
Well, it's a very important message and something that we're hearing very loudly across the country as we travel and speak to different people. How do you get it to change? How do you get people to take action to move forward is a real dilemma.
Yeah, first of all, you want to see the change, you have to be the change. And this is the message behind Ouzville. Like, we cannot criticize, we cannot blame, we cannot complain. This is what we've been doing since 40 years, telling we're waiting for a new government to make the change. But the government, where are they coming from? From the 4 million Lebanese. So we need to change the mentality of the 4 million Lebanese. Starting schools, which is hard. Starting parents, it's hard. So where is it coming from? We need to tell the religious people, you cannot divide anymore the children. Like, we need to say we are all Lebanese, then Christian, Muslim. This is private. Today we are telling people you need to act Lebanese. You need to remove the fear of others, because others are fearing the same thing. And this is the change. Today we have to change. We have to wake up in the morning. People, they are scared to put money. Why? Because they don't believe in the country. Why? Because everybody doesn't believe. But if you say today, I'm gonna sell my car, let's say, and buy a cheaper one, and the money I'm gonna put it in Ouzville, in fixing Saida or Tripoli, everybody will do the same. I want to tell every person, instead of putting on Instagram, Facebook your pictures traveling the world, put your pictures giving to your country. For 1 year, people will see the change.
Well, do you think that that's realistic though? Because I mean, you're doing it. You saw on 2 occasions you tried to seek support from your own friends of people that you worked with, and they didn't support you.
Yeah, in the beginning.
So now is there a change?
By example.
Yeah, 100%.
So
you have to be the change.
And
you
exactly.
Have to be.
So we did it. A lot they didn't believe. Now people are calling me. How can I help? So people are bringing their own paints,
Yeah.
painting.
Before it took the international artists and your leadership.
Exactly.
But now you can, by what you've done so far, what you're saying is that the local artists that
They are ready.
are now getting involved and doing the work
Exactly,
without
because
payment.
we created the name, Ouzville. We created the safety because people are scared. So now there is no fear anymore. They come to Ouzville, they feel safe. It took one person to put around 100K, one person, 100K 1 year, and we made the change.
Yeah.
Imagine there is 1,000 people like Ayad. Today, if all the politicians, all the billionaires, instead of thinking about their own religion and own confession and own personal interest, today they decide before dying, they take care of Lebanon, they give a part of it. But no one wants, because they all want to give to their children, because they want to secure their children's security. And this is wrong. I told my 2 kids that Lebanon is your 3rd brother. Whatever I give to my children, I'm gonna give it to Lebanon. Now people, they tell me, but how can we give and trust people? I said, if you don't trust me, go buy trees, plant trees, go clean the streets. Park your car and clean the streets. Even others, they are dirtying it, do it. And this is what Batoul is doing now in Ouzaii. The sad thing in the story that people were scared in the beginning. Why I'm doing this? Why I'm beautifying? Because they were not used to somebody coming give them something for free without asking in return. And the main thing that what I wanted to do is to show people and mainly politicians that if we want to be Lebanese working for Lebanon, we have to give. We cannot come and take. And I tell everyone here, you all pray, you all fast, you go to church, you go to mosque, but you accept that your country is dirty. بدك تكون لبناني ما تكون أناني.
Victoria, you were the instigator of bringing the international artists to Lebanon to do this. What inspired you? Like, how did you work that concept out?
Well, as I said, everything started with the Urban Down. Urban Down is the project curated by Curator 1990. We created it 2015, firstly in Kazakhstan. What is Urban Down? It's a city sunrise. So we bring in the light to the city that was actually dark, and with us, with the help of international artists from all over, so we break the stereotypes, because people, for example, about Lebanon around the world, they still think there is war, it's not possible to go there, but it's actually, it's the media, it's not true. So for us, it's important to bring the truth to the people.
And you're Russian.
I am Russian.
Was this your 2 years ago you came to Lebanon? Was your first trip, or how long ago?
No, like three or 4 years, I think, ago.
Yeah.
And how was that for you? Did you believe what the media said, and were you surprised with what you found?
I actually was quite scared to come to Lebanon myself, because people were saying, where are you going? There is war, like they will kill you, they will explode you, they will take you, I don't know, with the terrorists, with everything. So when I arrived, I have a friend here, so we were walking with her on the street, and I was like, Celia, I'm scared to walk. She's like, why are you scared? And there is nothing going on here. So then I realized it's like everything what we hear, it's not true about Lebanon. So for me, Lebanon, that is totally different from what people say. And then I started to come more because I have friends here. And I really like it. I like the atmosphere. I like the energy. I like that it's not perfect. I like that the country is building. This is what attracts me a lot. So, and I see a lot of opportunities for the people and for myself as well. So with the Urban Down tour, we decided also to break the stereotypes, because when I continue to come back to Lebanon, all my friends around the world, my colleagues, they were saying, Lebanon, this is something crazy.
And Ouzaii.
Yeah.
And of all places, Ouzaii.
Yeah. And I told to my co-curator, he's Danish, he works in one of the best galleries in Denmark, that we should make the Urban Down Volume 2 in Lebanon. He said, of course, I would love to. We already had big problems in Kazakhstan. Why don't we come to Lebanon? So, and
was he joking?
No, he was not joking. We had really big problems in Kazakhstan. So, but the show was.
The ex-partner, they had problems in Kazakhstan.
We also had problems with the government because they canceled their visas. Nobody told us anything and everything. But it was quite fun. But it was a good experience. So when we come back to Lebanon, we didn't have like problems. I mean, we have problems with the customs. That's the only problem.
Yeah, but not with the partner.
But not with
No.
So we made things
perfect.
to be proud of.
I personally really like Ouzaii, and I see it as a quartier of the future. And I told it to Ayad. I said, Ouzaii, this is the place to be. And my artists, all of them, I promise you, they will be more than happy to come here. And Ayad didn't like this idea from the beginning. He said it's too complicated, people, Hezbollah, all these things that is like can make problems. I say, yeah, let's try. And
when we had actually a little bit problems in Beirut with other municipalities for walls, it was really complicated. So the easiest way it was to bring the artist to Ouzaii. And she told me, do you think we can get walls in Ouzaii? I said, we have all Ouzaii for us.
The artist started to come. And the idea, or the concept of, from the beginning for Urban Down was urban. Like it's all what we have in the particular cities, because the idea for the artist for Urban Down to come from abroad and to pick up the inspiration in the city, in the country, and to spray it on the walls. Right. So this is what they did. We had a couple of Brazilian artists, Ep8 and PHILANTHROPIC. Then we had French artist Camille Retna. Then we had the Russian artist Nutek. We had the Spanish artist Demsky. Then we had Andrew Schultz, American artist. And we had Retna.
And more, but we didn't have Australians.
But these are all accomplished, successful artists in their own homeland, and they all willingly came over to Lebanon to be part of this project.
They brought beautiful memories from Lebanon back, from Ouzaii actually, because for example Ep8 and PHILANTHROPIC, the Brazilian artists, they supposed to make walls in the city as well, and both of them said, we don't want to go to the city, we like Ouzaii, we better make several walls here.
And even Retna had like a small experience. He came to do a wall with Retna. We had another shock, and actually, we brought Retna to make a big wall in Achrafieh.
He made an album for Justin Bieber.
Nike,
he's collected by a lot
Ferrari,
of stars.
Private jets. He's very, very famous. So we brought him to Lebanon to make a big wall in Achrafieh, next to Sassine area.
And to work with children, because it was the continuation of Urban Down. Every artist is supposed to work with local people.
Right.
So, and Retna really wanted to work with kids.
So he did a beautiful wall with the collaboration of the children, the students. They went out, they paint. We wrote something for Khalil Gibran. And then a month later, we knew, because we lived next door, we knew that they removed everything.
Oh, what a shame.
So it was the priest who didn't really like the calligraphy of Retna. And meanwhile, when we brought him to Achrafieh, he decided, when he landed in Beirut, he came to make a wall here. So he chose to make a wall. So when we knew that they removed his wall in Achrafieh, we were so disappointed. This is where we said we're gonna put our effort in Ouzaii. At least they are appreciating the art more than anything.
I just want to go back to your original story, Ayad, about your family and how you said that when you were very young, your mother left you. And did you lose your father, did you say, or did he?
No, actually, my mother left. I was the youngest one. So after, I think, a failed marriage, I would say, I didn't remember because I was very small. My father was really down, disappointed, like his wife left him with somebody else. So he could not take care of us. He needed to take care of himself.
Right.
So I found myself with no mom, with no dad. He was there, but he never talked to us. We could never talk and communicate together, even with my brother and sister. We were always living in the fear of your dad is upset, your dad is sick, so make sure you don't make noise. So we lived in the silence. We could not communicate. No one could talk to us because no one came to explain to me why my mom left. So, and my dad could not come and give me what is missing, like love, affection, attention. So I lacked all this during my childhood and until I grew up. All my life I was like, why no one gave me love, affection, attention? This is why maybe when I grew, and it's part of my anger and frustration, why people they don't give this to their country. So this is for me, this I would say the experience of life and my mission in life. Today I thank my parents to leave me and to abandon me, because this is what I am today. I counted on myself, and I'm sure that every person has his own mission.
Sure.
But I always tell people why you don't give attention to others. That's why today we are giving attention to those people here.
Yeah.
And if you see, they are so happy because somebody abandoned them.
Yes.
The government, the political parties, no one gives really from inside. They always give for something in return.
Yes.
And my experience, I really suffered when I was young. We're all suffering, we're still suffering, but we always turn the bad experience into positive and into constructive.
Did you ever live abroad? Did you say you lived abroad? Where did you live?
When our mom left, I was 5 years, so we had to leave Ouzaii because my dad could not stay here. So we lived in Shimlan, then we lived in Bir Hassan, and at age of 17, like 12 years after my distance with my mom, I found out she was in Monaco. So lucky me, I wanted to go and see her in Monaco. This is where my dad told me, you go, you forget about any help. Anyway, he was not really helping me. So I decided to go to see my mom. And that was another shock in my life, that she was not ready to receive us. She was married with a son.
Family.
And my dad was married with 5 children. So we found out that he doesn't want us, she doesn't want us, so we were alone. So this is where I started going to school in Monaco. In the same time I started working as a barman, waiter. And at age of 18, I decided to buy my own car, my own watch. And here I decided to accept that I'm alone. And like with no mom, with no dad, no family, no religion, no politics, but I can do it. I did it, and a few years later I started working as a broker in real estate. So I went to Miami, then I came back here in 1993, and I started buying small apartments. That was my first apartment. I was 23 years old. It was in Baabda. It was 2 years after the war. At that time we had East and West Beirut. I was born in the West, but I wanted to live in the east part. At that time, people telling me, how are you gonna live there? You're Muslim Shia. I said, who said so? Like, I didn't know what I was, I said, yeah, on the paper. I said, I did not choose this paper. I am like a citizen of the world. And always I used to say, I'm a citizen of the world. So when I moved to Baabda, I met new people. They didn't know who's Ayad Nasser. So I had to create Ayad Nasser by being honest, straightforward, no religion, no politics. It's me. I am the person. And that's why we are trying to tell everyone in Lebanon, if we want to succeed, if we want to save Lebanon, we can today, in 1 minute. We have to stop protecting our religion, our confession, our personal interest. Today, Lebanon is dying. Either we say today we do the same thing, today we start today. Others are better than me. And this is what I learned when my dad could not take care of me. I used to give. I used to care about my dad before caring about myself. And when I arrived in Babda, I was always caring about the neighbors to be happy. Nobody wants it. At that time, all of the neighbors, they were fighting or arguing. Nobody wanted to take care of the building. But everyone has a beautiful house, beautiful car, but the building was falling apart. So I came, I told them, you want to save Lebanon? Let's save our building. So let's focus on outside. We fixed the building. The value of our apartments went up. So we start fixing the street, the parkings, we start planting. And this is the same thing. If all the Lebanese in Lebanon, instead of thinking about themselves, they think outside, we can save Lebanon. I think they need 200 years maybe. But today, if they decide to give outside rather than inside, and this is why my story is very, I would say, important, because I never thought from inside part. And religion made us selfish. Our parents raised us to be selfish. Our political parties, same thing. We think about ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, when I send my kids to school, I tell them, you don't go to study and to be number one. You have to learn, and you have to accept that everyone is like you at school. First of all, you don't compete with everyone. You go there to learn. The purpose in life is not to be the number one student or the number one lawyer or the number one architect. It's how could you be number one citizen, helping the country. And this is what I'm trying from out of my story. I didn't have the parents to teach me what they learned. Maybe if they taught me, they would have taught me the way. Let's say if I had a religious parents, maybe they would put me into religion. But I don't believe in this. I think every person is born with a mission. And I'm lucky that I didn't have parents. Nobody guided me. And I think my only mother is the planet, Earth, you know, that nature taught me how to be. Because look at the animals. They are not destroying the planet. But our humans, we are. Why? We are becoming selfish. If you look at everyone around us, I'm talking about Lebanon. We are selfish, we are greedy, we are stingy, okay? And mostly we are very arrogant. Why? We don't want to accept to improve. And this is our problem here. Today, if we decide to forget our values, what are the values? When Batoul said all the religion is respect, kindness, and giving. Forget about love. You cannot love somebody and force everyone here in Lebanon love each other. I would say respect each other. Respect everyone. You see how people they drive here? Why? Because the Lebanese are divided into at least 25 political parties, religion, confession. So people, they are not respecting each other in the streets. While I was driving, everybody knows, like I stop. When I see people, I stop. Please go. People, they forget about respect because no one is teaching us that giving is better than taking. Everybody believes and follow God. Everyone. I told all the religious people.
Great place of believers.
Yeah, God is a giver. But how come you are takers? If you all believe in God, how come you're not following God? So today it's time for all the religion, all the political parties, all the schools, universities teach how we could become a good human. Before being a statue, before being a doctor. What's the use being the best doctor when you're driving a fancy car in Lebanon and you do nothing for your country?
I say that that's a problem all over the world, but it's more accentuated in Lebanon because there's so many other elements impacting Lebanon. And it's coming out of war. It's got a war on its doorstep. It's still having a war with Israel. There's so many other elements that make Lebanon's story much more complicated. But
we can start it from
it's
ourselves.
a human issue. It's a global human problem at the moment.
Talking about this, like today, you ask my kids, I didn't give them any religion, and they are doing fine. They have everyone as a friend. Like when you go to a place, you say, let's say in Lebanon, you are Lebanese, you are Lebanese, you are welcomed everywhere. But if you go to, let's say, people of Kataib, you say you're Hezbollah or you're Await, there is a clash. But say that you're Lebanese, everybody welcomes you.
Yeah.
So today, if we want to save the country, we need to admit it today, and I mean it. Maybe in 2,000 years, people will remember this. Today, I have to say to my kids, you are all citizens of this country.
Yeah.
You are all Lebanese. If we can do it today, we will succeed. I have a lot of friends, they love what I'm doing, but they are not ready to tell their children that today you're not Christian or you're not Muslim anymore. You are Lebanese. They are afraid. Why? Because if you do not baptize your kids, they will not become Christian. It means they don't go to paradise. They are scaring people like this. And if you do not circumcise your son, he's not Muslim, so he doesn't go to paradise. I'm telling everyone, when you pray, you fast, you go to church, to Mecca, to Hajj, to Vatican, and you're not respecting each other, and you are littering in your country, you are dirtying your country, you are not taking care of the Mediterranean Sea, how could you go to paradise? This is how I tell everyone in the streets here. Everybody looks at me, say, you're right. Guys, how could you pray? You think that you're going to paradise, but no one is telling them this because they are
not
scared.
comparing it.
Exactly.
They're not aligning that with that.
Exactly. So all this to tell you today, if somebody starts say, okay, my two kids, they were Christian or Muslim, today they are Lebanese because I want to save Lebanon. I want my kids, when I die, to focus on Lebanon, but they don't because they want them to go to the church, to pay to the priest for baptism, marriage, divorce, death, like funeral.
So you've invested a hell of a lot of money, your own personal money, incredible amount of time, and brought in a lot of people. And now you've agitated the locals to take charge of the project, and I believe you're handing it over now, or have handed it over to some locals, and this is where Batoul comes into the picture.
Exactly.
So can you explain her responsibility, or how you're now taking ownership of this amazing area and this mission?
Yeah, first of all, I don't think what we spend for Lebanon is that much. Lebanon deserves everything we earn in our life. This is first. Second, when we created Ouzville, so I think we created a baby, okay? We gave him almost everything, and it was time for us to move somewhere else. And this is what we create and we do in our projects. We come to places where nobody wants to take care of. We give him life, soul, happiness, joy, and we leave. And this is, I think, the job of everyone should give and leave. So we decided that we need that the local people to start taking over, to take this message by giving back, initiating the locals to be every day responsible. Every day they need to make their bed, every day they need to clean the street outside, and this is how we become good citizens. So I thought the good person, who's the person came to us to give art, because she's a good artist, you're gonna see her art, and she lives here, she's local. So we talked, and I felt that she can be the mother of Ouzville.
How do you feel about that responsibility?
First of all, I feel very happy, but at the same time it's a big responsibility because I'm not responsible of one or two streets, I'm responsible of the whole area.
Yes.
And I want to thank Ayad for coming and changing all this area. And by changing this area, he's changing the whole nation of Lebanon and all citizens of all the world. Because when you are coming and you go back with your story to Australia, you're gonna make a change there too, for Lebanese, especially living there. I think he's a rare person who came with a rare initiative, because it's really hard to find someone who would give waiting nothing in return. And whoever you see on the street, they would ask me, what's Ayad want in return? Why he's doing this? So he's a person who wants to change his country. And he has no benefits. I mean, and even if he got any benefits, he's changing and beautifying the area. So what's wrong in this? I mean, you should be thankful. And people are sometimes jealous. That's why they complain or envy or do bad things. But people who really love their country and they are very loyal, they would be very happy like me. And I participated in painting on some murals. It was a new thing for me, because I already paint on just papers or draw on hands, but it was a very beautiful experience and very exciting.
How does it make you feel about your own area?
Well, a lot of people come and ask, well, this is beautiful, and that's what I'm feeling now. But it's gonna fade after 2 years, or when it rains, or when winter comes. So a lady said this, and she was putting manicure on her nails.
Right.
So I told her, why are you putting manicure? It's gonna fade after 1 week. And she laughed. I said, you're gonna put it again and again. That's the purpose. You want to feel happy for a little of time, for 1 week or a few days, but you want to feel happy for 2 years from now. And then we're gonna keep the maintenance. And that's why we are calling people to come and help, because Ayad can't pay more money on this, because he has his own life and his own expenses. He can't adopt the whole country. So we are asking people to come and incorporate in this and help us. And by if you start painting your own building and others start painting their own buildings, and they clean their street, that's what we want. I mean, there's nothing more.
And have they responded? Are they responding?
Yes, some responded. Some say they have no money, but I mean, you can't say I don't have money, but you can go and pay $1,000 on a silly thing or get fun. I mean, you can't get fun when I have something more important, which is your country, to keep it clean.
Your own home.
Yeah, and they claim that they have faith. Faith starts when you have a clean country or a clean body. You can't have a strong faith when you have an ugly and dirty country.
But do you see that some people are shifting and working with you?
Yeah, a lot of people called us and contacted us on social media, and they come from Taos, Tripoli, and Brumman. Like this lady, she's amazing. She came with her own paintings, and she wanted to paint. And another lady from Saida, she came with her own materials to paint on walls.
And these are people of different religious faiths coming to a
and they have
mostly
nothing
Shiite
to do
area.
in Ouzville. They don't have homes, they don't have properties, so they just want to give.
That's a beautiful, beautiful story.
Yeah.
It's a real symbol of hope. Great. Thank you very much for
Thank you
this
so much.
great story. And you know, it is a tiny example, but what can be achieved by one person with people aligned with the same values, bringing together. You know, it's a story that's universal. So I'm very proud to meet you. Thank you.